watching KWQC TV, the news leader, making a difference in the Quad Cities. Live from the Quad Cities, with Morgan Otier and Kyle Keel, this is Quad Cities Live.
Today on QCL, if you've ever wanted to visit Yosemite or take a tour of the California coastline, you have the chance later this year on a holiday vacations tour with two of our own. We'll learn more with Jenna Jackson and Dustin Nolan. And the importance of knowing where you can go for care as warmer weather and outdoor activities increase, so do accidents and injuries. And later, an important conversation about homelessness in the Quad Cities. We sit down with Humility Homes and Services to find out how to support the organization in their mission to end homelessness. You're watching Quad Cities Live. It is Thursday, April 17th. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm Kyle Keel. Morgan is off. Well, we have a great line of guests lined up here for you today. And we begin here in the kitchen with Bummer City, the company always on a mission to make the Quad Cities as fun as humanly possible. And they are doing just that at their various establishments on both sides of the river, including a new country western bar opening here in just a few weeks. Dan Bush with Bummer City. Where did Dan Smith come from?
That's all right.
Oh, Dan, you've been here so many times. We appreciate you being back with us to talk about all the fun things happening at Bummer City. And we want to start with some of the featured menu items for the month of April at some of your various places. We want to start off with Armour Gardens because you got a good one this month.
Yeah, so we have a buffalo chicken taco, which doesn't sound like much, but there's actually a pineapple salsa that they whipped up that goes on top, along with some sriracha mayo. So it's a little bit of a twist. Great for patio time.
Yeah.
We finally made it to patio season, which is the best time of the year. So
yes, it is. So how's this been doing so far this month?
Oh, unbelievably well. People just love it, and I'll probably get it after I leave here. So.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, well, yeah, that sounds amazing. You pair it off with one of the many drinks available there. It sounds like you got a good lunch or dinner lined up.
Absolutely.
All right, so right next door, we've got Devon's Complaint Department, and you've got an interesting drink that is on the menu this month.
Well, my go-to breakfast food is pancakes.
Of course.
Throw some bananas on top, make it even better. This is a banana pancake Mai Tai.
Look at this.
So a little bit more desserty, a little bit sweet. It has a tiny little pancake garnish,
I see,
which makes it a little bit fun, great for Instagram. But this is, the team's always knocking it out of the park with the features, so, and this is no different. So this is definitely worth a try.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, perfect Instagram picture right there. And again, this is perfect for patio season, like you mentioned. So let's talk about Take Cover Tiki Bar. That's the new up-and-coming popular spot there in downtown Moline. Let's talk about this drink.
Yeah, so we just hit 6 months there, so we're super excited about it. This is the Guava Have It, which is a tequila-based drink with agave nectar and guava. It's very light, it's very refreshing. And every third Thursday of the month, we actually have Pride Night, which is happening tonight.
Okay.
So if you want to come try it, it's a great chance to come out and meet some new people. And it truly is our favorite day of the month.
Yeah, check out that 6-month-old spot there in downtown Moline. And speaking of downtown Moline, you know, we've been talking last time you were on about Analog, kind of, we're seeing the sunset on Analog in Moline and very soon in Davenport. So we've got the Late Rider that is opening up here very soon.
Yeah, just a few weeks away, and we are doing a lot. So there's going to be a lot to check out. We're going to have pool, we're going to have darts, we're going to have line dancing, so we have a dance floor. That's just me with a fun.
Some of the decor going in?
That's a new friend of mine. And tons of great decor. We're actually going to have live music, and the stage is going to be on the second floor.
Oh, cool.
So you're going to be, no matter where you're at in this massive bar, you're going to be able to see live music, which I think is probably the coolest aspect of it. It'll be open Wednesday through Sunday. We'll have food and drink, as well as a patio. So kind of a good indoor-outdoor place all year round.
Now, I know we were kind of teasing last time about the mechanical bull. Is that still going to be a thing on the patio?
So my insurance company actually reached out to me because I was in the Quad City Times, and they were like, "If you have a mechanical bull, we will cancel your."
Oh no!
So we can have it temporarily, like on special events on the patio.
Okay.
It can't be an everyday thing.
Okay. All right.
But that's okay. You know, the occasional mechanical bull.
Yeah, okay.
Insurance company, thank you for working with me on that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good thing they got ahead of that before you got yourself into some trouble. So also something that was very popular earlier this year was the Bummer City World Tour. So popular that you're not waiting until next year to bring it back. You're actually going to have a summer edition of the tour.
Yeah, so we ended it, it sold out at the beginning of March. We sold out of teas, and so we weren't going to bring it back until January, but then people started making their own shirts and going on their own tours.
That's cool.
And if they're going to do it anyway, we should hook them up with something,
Yeah.
you know? So we had a couple big groups come through with their own t-shirts. It was super fun. So we decided we did 70s rock and roll for the first one. We're doing 90s grunge.
Awesome.
A Nirvana-inspired shirt
right
here. If I can get the back,
the world
maybe.
tour on the back.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, we'll just hold this
Look at
thing
that.
up right there. There you go, the Bummer City World Tour.
So this is launching on May 15th.
Okay.
So we're basically waiting until Late Rider opens.
Oh, perfect.
So you can hit all the spots. And I know it's going to sell out fast. We only got 200 shirts.
Only 200 shirts, so there you go.
So you have to go early because they will sell out quickly.
All right, so May 15th. And remind us what all happens when you finish the World Tour.
So basically, you end at Devon's complaint department.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is spend $10 at each of our locations in the same day.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be alcohol related.
Sure,
So we do
that's
have
right,
sober travelers, which is great. We have options at all of our places. It could include tokens, for example, at Analog.
Yeah.
And at the end, you come to Devon's, you pick out your shirt, and then you take a picture that you get on our World Tour wall for everyone to see. So it's just a super fun way to get friends together, and it's just a fun little summer side quest.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, you're talking about making it as fun as possible here in the Quad Cities, and this is a fun initiative that you're doing. So let's go back to Late Rider. So when's opening day?
So we're looking for like the first week of May.
The first week of May.
In fact, I think you're coming out on April 30th.
April 30th. We're going to get a sneak peek. I'll be doing QCL live from there. We'll get a look at how it's transformed from Analog to this new bar, new country bar here in the Quad Cities. So we're really looking forward to that. Honestly, I was really looking forward to trying out a mechanical bull, but yeah, we'll pause on that. But I am looking forward to checking that out. And you know, speaking of Analog, obviously you know, Moline closed down already, but we still have a few months left to enjoy it in Davenport.
Yeah, so September 27th will be our last day.
Okay.
So we're going to have a big party.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be sort of like a 10-year birthday party will be our last day.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got some stuff we're going to roll out for that we'll probably announce in July. So.
Yeah, so if you're pretty bummed about that closing down, you know, you and I were having a discussion. I was like, oh, I've had so many great memories, but my memories were, you know, back in my 20s. So if you want to relive your 20s one more time,
that's right.
You can do that here coming up with the next couple of months. And we want to talk real quick. You're teaming up with a local brewery for a beer of your own this summer.
We've always wanted our own beer, and but we wanted it in a can. We didn't want to just name it, you know, have a tap handle.
Look at that.
5 Cities, the great people of 5 Cities approached us about collabing on a beer, and so we're making basically the summer beer of 2025. I
can't wait to try it.
It's a light lager, super easy drinking, perfect for that cookout, for that time at the lake. You're going, you know, you're going up to the UP, and you could bring a 6-pack of this. And when I get this, I'll make sure to bring it here for you,
Absolutely,
Morgan.
Yes.
Maybe some for Claire too.
Maybe Claire,
yeah, you can try it yourself.
Of course, for Claire. Yeah, we're looking forward to trying that. So that'll come May 2025, and you'll be able to get the can. So you're not going to sell it on tap. It's just going to be exclusively canned.
I think we're going to start with exclusively canned. Yeah, because the cans are so cool. Our graphic designer worked on that, and he's like, this might be his favorite thing he's ever done.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah,
that's awesome. Well, we're looking forward to that here as we head into the summer months. So, of course, you can tune in a couple of weeks, and we'll get a preview of the Late Rider and see all the work that you've done in there. And of course, if you want to keep up with everything happening at Bummer City, you can visit their website, bummercityinc.com, and be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram as well. Dan, as always, Dan Bush, as always, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, of course. Well, coming up next on Quad Cities Live, learn more about an upcoming holiday vacations tour on the west coast of the United States later this year with KWQC's Jenna Jackson and Dustin Nolan.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
You watch them every morning on Quad Cities Today right here on KWQC, and now you have a chance to take a trip to Yosemite and tour the California coastline with them as part of a holiday vacations tour. We're, of course, talking about KWQC's Jenna Jackson and Dustin Nolan. They're joining us now to talk about the trip coming up a little bit later this year. Jenna and Dustin, thanks for staying up late with us. I got to say, it's nice.
It's bedtime now.
Yeah, it's nice to see you at 3:10 in the afternoon and 3:10 in the morning.
I know the building is so full right now.
Isn't it? Oh, yeah.
I'm like, wow, there's humans here.
Yeah, there's actually a full newsroom.
Right,
so,
crazy.
Jenna and Dustin, we're talking about this trip to California coming up a little bit later this year, later in October. You must be looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we haven't had a vacation in a while, so.
When you have 2 kids, you don't get a lot of time.
No.
So it'll be kind of nice, but we'll miss them too.
For sure.
Yeah, so this will be your first trip without the kids, right?
Yeah, it will be. That'll be, it'll be an interesting interesting time.
Yeah, I've not yet made that
Ventured out.
Made that venture yet with a trip without the kids. So I commend you both. But it sounds like a great trip coming up. So, Dustin, what are your thoughts on the trip with Holiday Vacations? Because you've not been on one before, right?
No, I have not. Jenna has. She left me behind the last time.
Yeah,
Sure did.
So,
Bye.
hey, I can't blame her. But no, I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of stuff that I haven't seen before. I'm looking forward to like the whale watching. We get to see some whales,
Oh,
and
that'll
then
be
the
cool.
obviously wine tasting. But can't promise I'm going to spit it out because like that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Right?
Something like that. Yeah, there's like a professional way of doing it.
Yeah.
Here on Quad Cities Live, we just throw it back, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Well, joining us now from Holiday Vacations is Callie Shishaniak, and she is a tour guide with Holiday Vacations. Callie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. So, we hear about these holiday vacations all the time with many of our personalities here at KWQC. So, for those who might not be familiar, tell us a bit more about holiday vacations.
Absolutely. Well, we're very proud to have been your travel partner with KWQC since 2007. But our company itself has been in business since 1973. So we have over 50 years of travel experience. And our tours are really unique in that they are almost all-inclusive. So your transportation is included, and that means even local pickups within the KWQC viewing area. And then we drive you to the O'Hare Airport for your actual flights. You have one of our trained tour directors who's with you from start to finish, and they are handling all of the stress and the logistics of the tour. So for Jenna and Dustin, they really are going to get, and the viewers, everyone traveling with them, really will have a wonderful and relaxing vacation experience. And of course, your attractions are included, the accommodations, transportation during the tour, and that tour director who's with you is also providing information as you go along. And they all have really unique, fun personalities. They bring a lot to each and every trip as well.
Yeah, that's something that others in the past have talked about is the tour guide almost makes the trip. And that's something unique because that tour guide is with you pretty much the entire time, right, Callie?
They are from start to finish of the trip. So they'll be on the shuttle with you, getting you to the O'Hare Airport, flying with you. We all know the airlines can be crazy, so you have someone who's there to navigate all of that and handle those details. And then they're getting you back home again at the end. And they are on call for you 24/7 while you're on the tour, so you've got a resource immediately if anything comes up while you're traveling.
Okay, so let's talk about Dustin and Jenna's trip coming up here in October. What are some of the highlights of the tour? Of course, we've got Yosemite and the whole entire coastline there of California.
Yeah, I absolutely love this itinerary. There is so much diversity in what you're seeing and doing, and so many of these things that you'll be experiencing on the trip are iconic images that you've seen either in movies or in photographs or you've read about or heard about. So starting with San Francisco, getting to do a historic cable car ride, visiting Fisherman's Wharf and seeing the sea lions, of course the Golden Gate Bridge there, and then, as has already been mentioned, heading to Napa, getting to do some wine tasting. We encourage you to have a full breakfast so you can drink that wine. There's no sugar in wine.
Jot down the notes, Dustin.
Yes. Exactly. And then, kind of leaving some of the city behind and going, well, to Sacramento as well, so capital of California, and then on to Yosemite National Park, getting to see the giant sequoias, which I have seen before, and there's really just nothing like standing in front of the world's largest trees. They are just absolutely massive, and you can't comprehend it until you're right there.
Yeah, and we're looking at photos right now on the screen, and
wonderful.
I'm just guessing that these photos just don't do it justice.
Yeah.
You just cannot understand how tiny you feel when you are next to these trees that are also over 2,000 years old, some of them, and we'll be visiting Mariposa Grove, where there are over 500 of fully grown sequoias that you can have free time to walk as little or as much as you'd like to explore that area, but everyone will get a chance to see those trees.
All right, so we're looking at the itinerary right now. Pretty packed calendar there. We've got 9 days out there. So Jenna and Dustin, obviously I think that we all can guess what you're most looking forward to. Looking forward to the wine, right?
Right.
But what are some of the other highlights that you guys are looking forward to?
Definitely the whale watching and Monterey Bay. We were actually watching the Americas the other day, and they were talking about Monterey Bay, and I was in my head, I was like, I think we're going there pretty soon. So.
Yeah, the Monterey Bay Aquarium is really an incredible experience, and you'll be doing the whale watching tour during the time when the humpbacks are migrating from Alaska, where they've been during the summer, to Hawaii. And a chance to see blue whales as well, which are, of course, the world's largest mammal, so incredible opportunities on that whale watching.
Dustin, what are some of the highlights you're looking forward to?
Kind of like the whale watching, and then also just seeing those trees. Obviously, you know, as you guys said, pictures don't do it justice.
Yeah.
So being able to see them live, I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you either of you been to that part of the country?
I haven't.
Oh, Yosemite. Some
No.
No?
Yellow Park.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yellow Park.
There we go.
They both start with Y.
One of the parks, but yeah, I mean, I've been to San Francisco for a very short time. I did not get to experience all that you're going to experience, but I tell you what, you're gonna have a blast there, and
for sure.
This sounds like a really fun trip. So, Callie, if our viewers want to find out more information on how to sign up for this tour, how can they do that?
Two very simple ways. You can give us a call, and we are always happy to chat with you, answer questions, help you make a reservation over the phone. And that number, I believe, should be on the screen, but it's 888-557-1020. We also have brochures that we can send you by mail if you'd like to be able to read through that. But you can also visit holidayvacations.com and enter the keyword QUAD, QUAD, and that will pull up all of the information for this trip and all of the other trips that KWQC is offering this year as well.
All right, Callie, thank you so much. And, you know, for those of you that are wondering, like, oh, Dustin and Jen, I mean, if you don't know, Dustin and Jen are married. So, Dustin, I just have to ask you, how long have you guys been married for?
Okay, see, I came prepared this time. Last time it was Paula Sand show. The first question right off the bat, she asked us how long we've been married. And if you haven't seen it, well, go on YouTube or the internet.
Sure,
you can find it where, yeah.
I bring it up
so
often.
I think we were married, what, 2 months at that point in
Yeah,
time?
he said a year.
Yeah. And some days it feels like 30. But,
And Paula said, probably feels like it. As you
okay,
go, Paula.
so 2 years, 1 month,
yes.
and 3 days.
Wow.
There you go.
I'm impressed.
Redeem myself.
There you go. You redeemed yourself. So this sounds like a really fun time. And Callie, thank you so much for your insight on holiday vacations. And again, the holiday vacations tour of Yosemite and the coastal California with Jen and Dustin is October 3rd through the 11th. And you can learn more by visiting holidayvacations.com and typing in the keyword QUAD. You can also call that number on your screen. Callie, thanks again. Jenna and Dustin, thank you again. Go home and have fun with those kids and get some sleep, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, it won't be long till we have to be back here. So.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, well, coming up on QCL, no one ever wants to get injured or sick, but when you do, there are places in the Quad Cities you can go to be seen quickly by a nurse or doctor, avoiding the ER. We'll learn more about Unity Point Clinics next.
You're watching Quad Cities Live.
Well, spring is here, and eventually we'll get consistently warm weather, which means much more outdoor activities. But spring can also lead to some unwanted seasonal issues like injuries, illnesses, and of course those pesky allergies, which are back. The good news is there are many places that you can go for quick care in the Quad Cities. Joining us from Unity Point Clinics are Courtney Hamilton and Tricia Fisher. Ladies, thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Obviously, you know, everyone's looking for quick, convenient, but also, you know, they want to make sure that they're cared for. So, Tricia, can you talk more about the tools that are available to help people out?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, we always recommend that you have a primary care provider.
Definitely.
So if you don't have a primary care provider, please establish with a PCP, and we can help with that as well. But we also know that not everyone has a primary care provider, or they're not always open on nights and weekends. So for that, we do offer 5 convenient locations here in the Quad Cities proper, and then 1 in Muscatine. Those locations are open on nights, evenings, weekends, and holidays. So that makes it nice and convenient for the patient, because you never know when you're going to get injured or ill.
Yes, I think all of us can think of a time where we needed it right then and there, and it's nice to have these options. So, Courtney, tell us a little bit more about the benefits of having this walk-in care. Obviously, it's the convenience for first and foremost.
Yes, certainly the convenience, but also, you know, to avoid those unnecessary emergency room visits. You know, Unity Point has a great tool where you can kind of reserve your spot online. That significantly decreases your wait time.
Yeah.
And you know, we do have a fabulous team of physicians, nurse practitioners, and physician's assistants to be able to determine what tests you may need.
Sure.
But you know, we do have on-site X-ray. So you know, it's just the convenience of it, but also decreasing your wait time.
Yeah, most definitely. And you know, there are instances where you should go to the emergency room. I mean, obviously, if you're having breathing troubles or heart issues or any sort of pain like that. But what are some of the more common injuries or illnesses that you would go to one of these clinics for?
Yes, so your common colds, we do see a little bit of flu still left after this rough flu season that we've had.
Rough, yeah.
If you haven't had the flu this season, you're pretty lucky.
Yeah.
So, but also sprains and strains. Also, we can do laceration repairs, minor cuts, those kinds of things at the Express Cares.
Okay, so those of you watching the show may have noticed here the last couple of weeks, Morgan and I have kind of been in and out with illness. So what are some of the things that you've been seeing in your clinics here as of late? Because I know my family actually just got hit with a couple of viruses within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so certainly, as I said, it's been a rough flu season. Probably the worst we've had in about 15 years. So still a little bit of flu coming around, but now we're in allergy season. So it's kind of a grab bag of, is it allergies? Is it a cold?
Sure.
But, as the weather is getting warmer, we're certainly seeing more sprains and strains, falls, lacerations, people out doing yard work, and hedge trimmer gets away from them or things like that. So certainly seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that'll ramp up as we get more consistent weather and people get out and mow the lawn and do yard work for the first time. So Tricia, you kind of hinted at this at the beginning that it's kind of a growing trend to be able to reserve your spot ahead of time before heading to the clinic. So why is this important to do, especially nowadays?
Yeah, well, everyone's busy and everyone's
100%.
looking for the convenience and the quick, the quick care. So we have the option for patients to go on either at unitypoint.org, or if you have the My Portal through UnityPoint, you can go on and you can reserve a spot. And what that does is really just allows you to come to the clinic close to the time that you're actually going to be seen by the provider. So it's a convenience thing. It's easy to do, quick and easy to get online and just choose your spot. With that, we also, though we are not just a reservation only, we also take walk-ins. We are a walk-in clinic. So if you don't want to do that, you certainly can do that. And one thing that we do put out online also is just in each of our sites, we show how many patients are waiting. So if if you have the choice to go to a different site, you maybe look at one and there's 2 people waiting, and another one where there's 12, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go to the one that has less patients waiting. So
I've done that before.
Yes,
I've done that. I'm like, let me look and see which one has the lowest wait time.
Yes.
So say you do reserve your spot, but within that, say you reserved it for 45 minutes ahead of time, and you get there, and all of a sudden there's all these walk-ins. Do those walk-ins take priority, or do you?
The reservations take priority. So that's why it is, we strongly encourage people to use the reservation spots because it's convenient for you, and again, you get seen closer to that time, and those reservation spots do take priority. So if you reserved a spot for 10 o'clock, even though 10 people may have walked in right before you, you are going to be taken back around that 10 o'clock time hour, and then the walk-ins just kind of fall in order with everything else. So just like if you were to make a reservation at a restaurant, you try to get you in at the time, and then obviously you can still, but you might have to wait longer. Obviously you probably will have to wait longer if you do walk in.
That's a great analogy to do as a restaurant, to kind of like understand this fully. So is there a certain time of day where it's better to use that reservation online?
Yeah, so a reservation spots actually open up 12 hours in advance. So if you get on at 9 o'clock tonight, you'll be able to reserve a spot for the following morning. If it's something that you're like, oh, I've been feeling bad for the last few days, I really think I should be seen. So they just continue to open up throughout the day. Again, how we do this is really kind of a combination of reservations and walk-in spots throughout the day, because we're not like an ER who's open 24 hours. So we do sometimes have to limit the total amount of patients that we have. And so this just allows then for that ability for those patients to reserve, have their spot. If there's no spots open, then you can walk in, or there are other locations that might have open reservations.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of going to be my next question. Is you wake up early in the morning and you're like, oh no, I have this horrible feeling of sickness. You can just get online and see when the nearest or when the closest time frame is, and you can just sign up right then and there.
Correct. Or it might be something that can wait too. So let's say you're working in the morning, but you want something in the afternoon, then you can go on and book something for later in the day.
All right, well, this is a very informative information here. So if you want to learn more about the walk-in care, or if you want to reserve a spot ahead of time, you can visit the website on your screen, and we'll be sure to post a link on our website as well, KWQC.com. Just click on Quad Cities Live. Trish and Courtney, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, of course. Well, coming up in the next half hour of Quad Cities Live, Humility Homes and Services is here to tell us about an event that puts us in the shoes of a homeless person in the Quad Cities. We'll learn more coming up. And Ace Waterproofing and Basement Solutions is back to tell us about egress windows and who may benefit from them most.
And we've already had one round of showers and thunderstorms move through earlier today. Now we're waiting for one that could be more significant, and it's going to cross through while you sleep, or while you try to sleep. Could be a loud one. We'll have the latest on a First Alert Day coming up.
Accurate and reliable. This is your First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland.
All right, a little loud this morning as some thunderstorms move through with some small hail in places, but some very beneficial rainfall. Boy, by this weekend or next week when we get the sun back, things are really going to look green. They already do. But for this evening, or actually say late this evening into early tonight, our First Alert Day settles on in, and that's because we could have some strong to severe storms. At this point, looking at tonight, hail, large hail would be the main threat, along with damaging winds. And then tomorrow from 5 to 8 p.m., we still have that cold front moving through. And if we get a lot of cloud cover tomorrow that lasts into the afternoon, that might suppress our severe weather threat. But with that cold front moving through, we still have a chance for some strong storms. And along that cold front, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado would be the threat for our Friday. The highest risk we have from the SPC is a level 2 risk. And right now, we'll time out everything that comes in this evening. We're going to keep it cloudy this evening, but look what happens around 10 to 11 o'clock. Models have just updated, still keeping some storm activity in the vicinity of Interstate 80. That could still change. I mean, these storms haven't developed yet. So really the point is, because this is late this evening into the night, no matter where you are in the TV6 viewing area, you need a reliable way to get warnings in case one is issued for your area. That would be a NOAA Weather Radio or the First Alert Weather app with those notification settings all dialed into your area. And as we go through the end of the evening into the overnight hours, still a few storms moving on through. Again, large hail and some damaging wind, the potential here through about 1 to 2, even 3 a.m. when they finally start moving off to the east. Then we'll quiet things down. Now Friday, south winds will warm us well into the 70s. We could see some areas get highs near 80, especially south if you get some sun. But look at that shift in the winds. That is the cold front. That will move through during the afternoon. Still some signs of even some isolated thunderstorms developing, despite the fact that you see a lot of cloud cover here. And any one of those could be on the strong side. That is just something we're going to have to wait and see how it all evolves. But as we get into Easter weekend, looks like Saturday there will be some rain that later in the day could start moving in from the south. But then Sunday will be a very wet day with showers, even some thunder showers sweeping through the entire area. So it's going to keep it kind of soggy. For tonight, there's our hail threat. Remember, these storms, as they move in from the west, will be weakening a little bit. That's why the hail threat is higher in Iowa versus Illinois, where it tapers off a little bit, but it's still there. And the damaging wind probability is a little bit higher on the Iowa side of the Mississippi. Hey, right now we've got cool weather to the northeast, 50 in Savannah, but look at the mid-70s where the rain has long ended in southeast Iowa. Our winds right now, well, you know, it's kind of been tough to shake the wind lately. We've got steady winds around 20 miles per hour, gusts now over 30, even closing in on 40 miles per hour north of Highway 30. Lows tonight, fairly mild, only dropping back to around 60 degrees. And look at our highs tomorrow. There is a chance we hit 80 degrees. I'm not forecasting that. It really is dependent on if we get any sun between those clouds. But a very warm day coming up. Starting the day tomorrow, by daybreak, the thunderstorms will be long gone. And then we'll see mostly cloudy skies and temperatures rising through the 60s with those south-southwest winds. So really the next 24 hours, Kyle, we're going to have to keep our eye on the weather. And you folks at home, again, have a reliable way to get warnings, especially tonight after you go to bed.
Yeah, and I think tomorrow's going to be a day where we just got to watch the trends hour by hour by hour, especially with that front nearby in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way the forecast will pan out.
All right, thanks, Eric. We know you'll keep us updated.
Yep.
All right, well, next on QCL, homelessness is a growing problem nationwide and right here at home. We'll sit down with Humility Homes and Services to learn more about an upcoming immersive experience to support their mission.
You're watching watching Quad Cities Live.
Homelessness is not just a problem nationally, but right here in our own community. In fact, there's been a dramatic increase in homelessness here in the Quad Cities, even over the last year. One local nonprofit is working every day to end homelessness right here in the Quad Cities. And we're talking about Humility Homes and Services. Ashley Velez is the CEO of Humility Homes and joins us now in the QCL studio. Ashley, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. Welcome to the show. Obviously, homelessness is a pretty heavy topic, but an important one that cannot be ignored here in the Quad Cities. So talk about the organization itself, because you guys have been around for decades here locally.
Yeah, we've been around since 1990, so 35 years. We started as Humility Mary Shelter, Humility Mary Housing, became Humility Homes and Services. The number one thing, though, is we're here to serve the community, and so we have grown and changed to be what the community needs. As you mentioned, homelessness is on the rise, and so we have everything from street outreach to supportive living and emergency shelter and affordable rentals.
So let's talk more about the homelessness issue here in the Quad Cities, because you shared some stats with me a little bit earlier that said that 40% in the last year. That was really 23 to 24 as far as the year goes, but you've got some information from January of this year that is even more eye-raising.
Yes. So we do a federal count every year. It's called Point in Time. So it's literally counting individuals sleeping outside. And in January of 24, in the Iowa side of the Quad Cities, 8 individuals were found. In January of 25, 34 individuals. Yeah, and so
just in the Iowa Quad Cities?
Just in the Iowa Quad Cities. Illinois, I'm not really sure on their number. It hasn't fully been reported, but I've heard it's around like 20 individuals. And last year, I believe they didn't find any. And so, yeah, it's a growing problem for a variety of reasons. The main one is we just don't have enough affordable housing in the Quad Cities.
Yeah, that's we've had many reports on our newscast of the housing crisis, which we're going to talk about here momentarily. But we want to talk more about your mission and the outreach that you do with the community. You want to increase support and obviously decrease the homelessness. So you're doing that with an upcoming event, which sounds very interesting. It's a kind of an immersive event. You're calling it the Immersion Experience, and this is happening in early May.
Yes, it is. We actually have had so much traffic that we added another date.
Oh, you did?
We did. So it's May 2nd and May 9th. So Friday mornings from 8:30 to 12:30. We're having an immersive experience. It's something that happens in other parts of the country. Portland is one that sticks out. A lot of people, you know, if you're not in this world every day, you don't see the problem or what it means. And so the experience starts at our emergency shelter. We'll go down to our corner closet. We visit the homelessness outreach clinic. We end the day at the meal site. And so it's learning about what it feels to actually be if you come to us for services. So it's like an interactive experience.
Yeah, you know, and I think that really opens up people's eyes when, you know, we always hear the phrase, you know, if only you could walk a mile in my shoes. Well, this actually gives you that chance to do that here in the Quad Cities. So obviously big housing crisis, really it's been a nationwide issue. So let's talk a little more about the housing crisis here locally. You know, like I mentioned, this has been a topic that our investigative team has been looking at really over the last year, and we still have people call us saying it's a problem.
Yes. So about 4 years ago, Humility, along with other social service agencies with the Quad City Housing Council, wrote a plan called the Silos of Solutions. So it's like a roadmap of how we can work to address the affordable housing crisis, because the number one reason is we just don't have enough homes. But some people that Humility serves is we target individuals who have been homeless multiple times, have barriers to housing. They need more of supportive services, so that's what we're working on. And so the last stat was about 6,000 houses short of affordable. So what that means is that you're not paying more than 30% of your wages to live someplace. On average, I think it's about 40 to 50% of Quad citizens pay more than 50%, so it's even higher. And that is for homeowners and for renters alike. And so we want to talk about that, bring it up, bring people into the conversation.
So how do you think that we kind of take this crisis down a little bit? Like, how do we improve this?
Absolutely. It is a very long-term plan. It's not like a quick thing. But it really takes every facet and every person in the community. So somebody that's formerly homeless, using your voice to say, hey, I was here, and this is what it was like. Having the faith communities join in because they play a role. The local governments, they play a role. The nonprofit, the lenders, because we need all kinds of housing in order to make it work, and services. So it really is a joint effort for all.
Yeah, most definitely. So what other things do you do throughout the year to support this effort at Humility Homes and Services?
Yeah, so we serve about 1,200 individuals a year, 600 in our shelter. So we do things to help support our mission, both with funding and with items of need. So we're always taking donations Monday through Wednesday at 522 Fillmore Street. Anything needed to make a house a home. So people think we just need clothes, but we're working with people that have nothing. So used pots and pans, even if you're getting new pots and pans, vacuums, decorations, we take those to put right into our housing. We also have a block party coming up on June 14th. It's a community celebration. It's completely free. It's a way for us to kind of break the stigma, because we have about 400 people that attend the event. So, you know, think games and free food trucks and all of that, and even baskets, social services. So we want to say you don't know who's experiencing homelessness by coming to the event. So we have that one, and then we host other events and awareness, and the Immersion is just one of them.
Yeah, and the Immersion experience, let's go back to that real quick. Does it cost to register for that?
Completely free.
Okay.
Yep, so you go to humilityhomes.org, and there's a web part for you to register for May 2nd or May 9th.
All right, and we have that information right there on your screen, so you definitely want to make sure that you reserve the spot so they know that. And if you're planning on doing any spring cleaning, maybe donate some of those items to Humility Homes to help with the mission and all the good things that you're doing here in the community. And if you want to learn more about that mission and other services offered by Humility Homes and Services right here in your community, you can head to the website, humilityhomes.org. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us today. It sounds like a very interesting experience with that Immersion experience.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. Well, coming up next on Quad Cities Live, Ace Waterproofing and Basement Solutions is back to talk about the importance of egress windows and whether or not your basement needs it. Friday on QCL, Illuminate Healing Studio will be here to talk about an important documentary series presented by the Center for Active Seniors. And April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. We'll learn how you can help support a local nonprofit dedicated to ending child abuse. That and much more here Friday on Quad Cities Live. Well, now that spring is here, you may be looking for ways to improve your home and keep it safe for you and your family. Ace Waterproofing and Basement Solutions can help with that. Now, last time we talked about uneven concrete and how to solve that problem. And today, Adam Ellis from Ace will be talking about egress windows and the importance of them. Adam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. I always enjoy being on.
Yes, we enjoy having you because you always open my eyes to all the things that I need to check in my home. Now, I don't think I personally need one of these based on how my basement is set up, but let's start with the basic question. What is an egress window?
So an egress window is a window that's large enough to be able to get out of the home in the event of an emergency like a fire, and also allows emergency personnel access in.
Okay, we're looking at some of those photos right now, and yeah, you can. These definitely look familiar to some homes. So it's basically, I guess, if you have a larger window in your basement.
Yeah, yep, that's a good way to look at it.
All right, so are these required by code in each and every basement, or does it just kind of depend on what you use your basement for?
Everywhere, you know, every city, state has a different building code, but at the end of the day, if you have a finished or living space in your basement, you do need an egress window by code. For that sole reason, you need that to be able to escape in the event of an emergency where you don't have access to the main floor, like a fire that might drop the set of stairs or so on and so forth.
Okay, so this is definitely something where safety is kind of the top priority.
Yep, it absolutely is.
So is there a standard size that are required for egress windows?
So there's a lot of standard requirements for an egress window. It can't be any higher than 44 inches off the floor where you're going to step out. It can't be any narrower than 24 inches so you can fit out. And it also needs to be at least 5.7 square foot, the opening itself, for you to be able to exit out of it.
Okay, and we're looking at photos of you and your team doing some work on egress windows. So what is all entailed when you go to work? Because it looks like you're using a lot of different equipment there.
There's quite a bit that goes into it. One of the things that we do different than most, we choose to hand dig all of our egress windows. We do this because it doesn't involve heavy equipment, and we don't have to tear up your yard. Our workspace is it's exclusive essentially to the area where we are installing that window. So by the time we're done, we handle what little restoration needs to be done, and your yard is left intact, and you've got a beautiful new window for you.
All right, and you know, we mentioned that safety, obviously it looks beautiful, but really it's all about the safety. So you mentioned the role it plays in like fires and floods. This is just an easier access to get out, right? To get out of an unsafe situation.
Yep, so not only is it allowing more natural light into the basement, making it feel like more of a living and usable space, it truly is about the value it adds to the home and different capacities, and it's the safety factors, the #1 reason.
Yeah.
So, and again, if you have any living space or finished space in the basement, it is a requirement as well.
Yeah, so many people at home probably thinking of what can I do to improve my home, or maybe do some home projects this spring. So what should they look for when, I guess, looking to get an egress window in their basement?
So it's one of the best things about it. With us, we can install them in almost any location in your home.
Okay.
You don't have to have an existing window in place. We can cut right into the foundation, as you may have seen in the one picture. Ultimately, it's the only restrictions can come from underground utilities occasionally. So we'll do a utility locate to ensure there's no obstructions there. Sometimes property lines can be an issue, but that's a pretty rare one we run into.
Okay, so you mentioned that you like to use your own equipment and you like to dig your own space for these windows. So it sounds to me like it's quite a bit of process. So how long does it take to install this?
So it's the best thing. Depending on which option you go with, anywhere from a day to a day and a half, 2 days max. So we are very efficient at this. We do a lot of egress windows, and yeah, again, we try to keep it as painless as possible for you. Most of the work is done from the outside, and again, we leave that space almost like that window had been there for some time before we even started. So.
Sure, and you mentioned that you don't even have to have a window in your basement to get this installed. So say you have an existing window, can you change that into an egress window?
Absolutely. It makes it a little easier, for sure. But yeah, it doesn't matter if you've got one in place or if you've just got a spot in the wall that, hey, this looks like a great spot for a window. We'll make it happen for you.
Okay, so everyone's watching this and probably watching all the segments when it comes to home improvement. And the million-dollar question is, how much is this going to cost me? So what's the cost looking like to get an egress window?
So this is one of my favorite things about what we do, or one of my favorite services we offer. It ranges anywhere from $5,500 to $8,000 depending on the option you go with. We've got anything from a standard window that I think was pictured there to a 48 by 48 that allows in a ton of natural light. And now the other best part about the egress window, not only is it adding value by giving you peace of mind, safety in your home. You know, if you've got kids sleeping in the basement, whomever it is, you don't have to worry there. But the best part about it is you almost always get a return on investment out of an egress window. It adds value to your home. You typically are going to get more back in your home than what you spent on the window. So.
I think a lot of people don't think of that is the return that you get for it as well. So Ace Waterproofing and Basement Solutions provides a variety of different services for your home and basement needs. So for a look at all of those service and of course the current monthly promotions, you can visit the website on your screen, acewbs.com. Adam, as always, we appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching Quad Cities Live. Your local news at Sharon is coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow.